structure. Do you feel overwhelmed in trying to grow a business coaching practice? What do I do? What do I do today, tomorrow, next month? It just all seems overwhelming. If you feel that way, that's what we're talking about today, the power of structure in building a successful business coaching business. Let's jump in. BJ O'Neill here with the Business Coaching Success Podcast. So glad you're here, where I share with you strategies, tools, and tips to be able to grow your business coaching practice to six figures and beyond as a Christian business coach. Let's jump in. Welcome. Glad that you are here. We are talking about structure, the importance, the reasons, what happens when we do it, what happens when we don't, what should we be doing, what type of structure should we build, and all kinds of good stuff. I will quickly tell you, if you are curious about building a business coaching practice, perhaps you own a business and you are looking to be a mentor to others. Maybe you have experience in some type of coaching and you love making impact. It gives you a lot of purpose. You really want to help business owners succeed and grow profitability in their business. You just don't have structure. You just don't have systems. You don't have tools. You can go to businesscoachmastery.com. That's businesscoachmastery.com. There's information that you can get there. And if you're interested in learning more, you can also schedule a chat with us. We'll share with you exactly what we do and by providing a solid, done-for-you solution to help you build the coaching business of your dreams and live life on your terms. And I will tell you, part of that done-for-you system, by far, absolutely is structure, systems, and processes. Now, it's an interesting thing because as I was preparing my notes for this episode, I kind of reflected back on the first, or actually it was the second business, at least some memories that I have 30 years ago, by the way, which is crazy to think that way. Actually, now that I think about it, 30 years ago next month, meaning October of 2024, will be 30 years when we opened our first business. And so into the second business, I have some very specific memories that have to do with structure, meaning I was very young, in the early 20s, and I was definitely not structured. I was a free bird, and most entrepreneurs truly are free birds, free-spirited, butterfly chasers, and lack structure, continuity, consistency, and so on. That definitely was me for sure. It's a lot of people. And so as I prepared this and I was kind of laughing, I'm like, man, if my 30 years ago self knew that one day I would be teaching and educating people on the power of structure, I would probably be like, there's no way. I would never forget one time, just going in, we had a retail business, and going in, barely making it on time, having to unlock the doors. Customers are kind of standing there, just because I didn't want to get there any earlier. And it was just I wanted to do it my way. So we don't want to do that. And I'll tell you, success will not be found in that kind of approach. You can't dabble. You can't do a little bit of stuff over here, over there, and not knowing what you're doing today, tomorrow, what your structure is, your goals. It just will not work. You'll find yourself in overwhelm, frustration, and you want to absolutely avoid that. Actually, let's talk about real fast the benefits of, okay, BJ, when you say structure and whatever, I thought one of the whole points is living life on your terms. True. That one of the benefits of having a business coaching practice on your own is the flexibility that it provides. But even with that flexibility comes a responsibility to do it in a manner that if you really want to supercharge your flexibility, you want to supercharge your structure. You may say, what? Here's why. Number one, when you have a strong structure, it increases your productivity. You feel better about what you're doing and you're very clear and concise about that activity and when you're supposed to do it. It improves your management, your time management. Although I would argue you can't really manage time, but you can manage your activities. You'll have clarity with the right structure on which activities, in what order should I be doing. It's going to enhance your clarity, your focus. You'll feel better. You'll have an increased amount of the right type of chemicals that reduces all the cortisol, which is a chemical that produces the hormone of stress. And you not only feel better, you'll make better decisions. So if you are not a structured person right now, I'm sorry, I'm having to clear my throat. Allergies this time of year for me. If you are trying to build a business coaching business and you're not really structured, like I said, it's not kind of your typical DNA, which is fairly normal. I think one of the challenges is that you got to disembrace the idea of, oh my gosh, structure is wearing handcuffs, it's clamping down. No, structure gives you freedom. And you want to really focus your mind and your effort around all the benefits that it drives. I had a green smoothie today. Now, do I just love the taste of a green smoothie? Although I don't mind them, I do enjoy them. Would I rather have, something that tastes really, really good? Of course I would, but I understand the benefits of that health implications. In my 50s, what a green smoothie, the nutrients, the vitamins, what that does for me. So I'm not mired into just, oh my gosh, I don't like smoothies, whatever. I understand what it's going to provide for me. Well, when we look at structure in building a business, especially a coaching business, we get more mired into the results of what it provides. That's what you want to focus on, okay? Because if you don't, and we're going to get into how to structure in just a second, but if you're not focused on structure, here's what it's going to produce for you. Procrastination. What you believe that you will do today will not get done. Even if it's on your list to get done, you will allow, because of no structure, a lack of context, a lack of a process, you will allow the tyranny of the urgent to overtake what is that you need to do. And then tomorrow will come, oh, okay, yeah, I got to get that done, whatever. And because you allow distractions. We live in a very distracted world. We always have to some degree. It's just more distracted than ever before for the obvious reasons of technology, devices, and whatnot. And most people, allow those things to get in the way of their progress. So when you combine distractions and procrastination, it's just a complete and total killer. It'll ruin you. It'll also increase your lack of efficiency and create an inefficiency in your results. Playing that out in real time, the way that you build relationships. I don't care what strategy you use for lead generation and building relationships. When you're not structured, distractions will get in the way, inefficiencies are present, and it will completely, kind of kill the whole thing. And you will not do A, the right things, B, enough of the right things. And what that'll increase is missed opportunities. I want you to just process that for a moment. Are you okay? For those of you that have started your business coaching journey, and maybe you're not where you want to be yet, are you okay with missed opportunities because you have yet to truly structure the process? That means your day, your week, your month, your quarter. Like for me right now, and again, this has been a learned journey over many, many years. As I record this episode, next week we'll start the fourth quarter. So this week I have a lot of time scheduled on my calendar about fourth quarter activities and goals. I'll be reviewing what I did last month or last quarter, what I hit and what I didn't hit in my business, and what I need to fulfill and hit for the next quarter to fulfill the year and the journey towards the next several years. Okay? But when you're not structured, you will not do that. And I didn't do it for many years. Okay? So you don't want missed opportunities. So you want to literally write down somewhere, lack of structure equals missed opportunities. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. We want to increase our structure, our systems, and our process to increase opportunities. There's nothing greater than when you feel like an opportunity fell in your lap. And the reason why it falls into your lap is simply because of the activities that you've been doing, the right ones, many times, many days, many weeks, many months, where it doesn't seem like anything's happening. And all of a sudden, all those activities kind of work together in harmony, and opportunity shows up at the door. That will not happen when you have a lack of structure. Couple of statistics. 60% of entrepreneurs feel overwhelmed due to lack of structure, according to the Entrepreneurs Organization. Unstructured businesses experience 30% higher employee turnover, according to Gallup. Now, You may not have employees, but I'm trying to bear the point of the process is that when you do not have structure in any kind of business, it's not going to go well, period. 80% of businesses fail, as you know, whether it's 5 years or 10 years, doesn't matter, simply because of lack of planning. But here's the cool thing. So we talked about a second ago, lack of structure equals missed opportunities. Watch this. According to the McKinsey Group, structured organizations, prepare yourself, structured organizations see 25% higher revenue growth. So I want you to write, lack of structure equals missed opportunities. Proper structure equals higher revenue growth for my business. And this is not a guilt trip. This is to encourage you that, look, when we talk about strategies, which is a big part of what we do in our group with Business Coach Mastery, all of our coaches that we have all over the country, we are focused on a process in helping business owners to find and grow the profitability in the business in a very, very structured process. Well, we have to apply the same type of rigor to our business coaching practice as well. We want to understand when I have structure, when I have systems, when I have process, I will have opportunities and increased revenue. And obviously, the opportunities lead to that revenue. When I have a lack of structure, I have missed opportunities and decreased revenue. That should excite you. That should kind of give you the, if I was sending this to you in a text, this is the 2 exclamation points in the corner. Like that's what's, that's what you want to roll with. That's what you want to move forward to. So how do we do this? I'm going to give you some very simple, basic ways to think about it. And then it's up to you at the end of the day as how you're going to do it in your world. So here's what structure looks like in a very, very high level. And we're all built differently and wired differently. So this is going to morph a little bit depending upon your personality and how you like to do certain things. But I am a big fan of the threes. All right. There's just something about the principle of the threes that just makes it really simple, especially for entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, those that are like myself who, it's very easy to get distracted anyways. But when I can consume the power of threes, meaning in building a successful business coaching business, you have to, 1, where do I get leads and prospects? Number 2, how do I convert those leads and prospects to ongoing, high-paying monthly clients? And 3, how do I coach them to get results, meaning your clients, with simplicity? Everything that I just said is everything that you're going to do in building a business coaching business. Leads and prospects, conversion, and then coaching. All right. So there's a structure right there. If I was putting things into columns, I now have 3 different sets of columns. This is now giving me structure that I'm going to start to work through to know what I need to do, when, where, how, and so on. And again, we're all going to shift a little bit of how this is going to work. So I'm going to give you an example. If it's leads and prospects, I'm going to choose 2 to 3 activities inside that one column. Or what's the word in structure? Yeah, column, I guess, is the right word. Pillar. That's the word I was looking for. I like to use the word pillar sometimes. So in that pillar of leads and prospects, I now am going to make a decision, and I may change that around a little bit just based upon what I'm going to do. And it's all the things. It's answering the question inside column number 1, where am I going to spend my time, my energy in building relationships? Am I going to use the workshop strategy? Am I going to build what we call joint ventures? Maybe you know someone who owns a digital marketing company, but they have a couple of employees or whatever. Maybe you know somebody who is a CPA and has business clients. Maybe you know somebody who works at a local radio station or the billboard company or whatever. There's all kinds of ways you can build a joint venture that it works. Networking. Maybe I'm going to network, or maybe I'm going to, do the digital, direct messages on LinkedIn. Maybe it's paid marketing. Like all of them work. But for today's purpose, the point is I'm going to choose 2. For context, let's say I decided to choose networking and workshops. In my structure, pillar number 1 about leads and prospects, I'm going to spend my time and my energy in networking. I'm going to spend my time and energy in doing workshops. Okay. So in that structure, I'm going to say I'm going to go to 2 to 3 events per week in my local area. Could be the Chamber of Commerce, could be this person, that person, whatever. I'm going to go every week. My goal is to expand my network. This is my structure. My goal is to expand my network. with the right individuals, I'm going to make an invitation to come to my workshop. And inside our Done For You solution, we provide our coaches with an entire, what we call a profit acceleration workshop, all the resources, the slide decks, the registration pages, the whole thing. Now, I'm not saying that's what you need to do. I'm giving you context to say, if that was what I was choosing, notice that I have structure. I know what I need to do with leads and prospects. I have a plan that every single week I'm going to go out and do these 3 things. And my goal is I'm going to invite them to my monthly workshop. That's structure. I don't have to think about my plan. I have to execute my plan because the plan is ready to go and game on. 6 months from now, this plan may shift just based upon needs, client load, the whole drink. Okay. Second thing, the conversion process. You need to have a very specific conversion process inside pillar number 2 to build structure. Now, I would argue that this is where you're sitting down and you're showing business owners where they're missing opportunities and where they can find opportunities in some manner or another. Back in the day, I used to use a PowerPoint slide deck to do this, to kind of give illustration to why certain strategies should not be avoided and why you should use some. I used spreadsheets at one point. Today, our system, we provide coaches an entire solution using high power software to find multiple strategies where we can find small impacts that compound together to have dramatic results. That's our process. But you got to have some kind of structured process. So follow along for a second. If my leads if my leads ball game was the networking game and I'm moving people to a workshop, I'm now going to make an invitation inside that workshop to go to that conversion process, whatever that looks like. That's typically a one-on-one conversation. And sometimes it's a couple of one-on-one conversations. Okay. Prayerfully, you're starting to see how this structure, got to build your own, what the structure should look like. And then from there, I'm going to make an invitation to work with some of these prospects, the ones that would be a right fit. And then I'm going to begin to coach them with simplicity. And that means I'm going to spend probably 3 to 4 times per week with them, 60-minute sessions. I'm going to have those scheduled, and I'm going to have a step-by-step approach inside that 60-minute time with them. And each of those sessions with them compound on each other to build a strategy for them. So for instance, if they don't have a compelling offer of any kind, like there's just no difference between what they offer and their competitor. So we're going to go to work on building a compelling offer. That might take, 4 to 5 sessions. So all we're going to do in a step-by-step manner is to build consistency. Now, if you're sitting there, oh, BJ, I don't have tools like that. That's what you got to solve to build your structure. Whether you work with us in our Done For You solution where we provide complete and total guidance and structure and all the content and the resources, or somebody else, or you build your own, whatever, you got to do something. Because what you can't do when you have a lack of structure inside the coaching process week to week, it's going to kill the relationship. They won't get results. They're going to fire you at the end of the day, probably within 3 or 4 months, because there's no consistency. You're not getting anywhere. So, pillar 1, I have a plan of action with my leads and prospects and what I'm going to do. Pillar number 2, I'm going to make an invitation from pillar number 1 to go through my very specific process to show them what opportunities can lie inside their business. Pillar number 3, I'm going to make an invitation from pillar number 2. And then number 3, I'm going to coach them with simplicity, one strategy at a time and one step at a time. Now, that is an overly simplified high-level version of this, but I just explained to you the entire roadmap and path of coaching. Solve your lead gen, solve your conversion, solve your coaching step by step. And every activity, everything that you do, and you're going to learn what you know today versus a year from now will shift just based upon the community that you're in, what you're learning, what you're reading, what you're studying, and so on. Clients, the impact that you're giving clients, the results that you're seeing from the clients, and how you'll impact other clients the same way, and so on. It doesn't matter though. In 10 years from now, this structure will not shift. The tools will shift, technology will shift, but the structure will not shift. So, walk away from this going, if you're not coaching and you're going to start a coaching business, you got to have structure. Use the 3s. If you are coaching, you need to make sure you've got structure like this. If you're in our coaching team and you're not fully utilizing all the tools, you need to. It will change your life and the clients that you impact. Okay? Until next time, take care.